I loved the fact of his, his attention. We're very similar in a way of like the details and the fundamentals, the teaching aspect of it. It's not so much about, and listen, let me preface this by saying this is not a knock on Mike or any of the defensive guys. This is what I just like about Ryan. The way he approaches the game, I think, the way he teaches it, the fundamentals part of it, I think that's important. The way he practices, I think that's all important on helping our team win.
What's your confidence level in press right now?
It's high. It really is high. I mean, you look, okay, we were a top 10 passing offense, okay? Press call plays. Now, we were a bottom third or 3 teams running the football. Press call plays. We had a lot of injuries, okay? Our left side of our offensive line, there was inconsistency there. We lost Christian, we lost Zay. Like I said, Cam, all that kind of stuff. So some of that is not the play caller. Some of that is just by circumstance, okay? So are there things we need to address and fix? Yes, there are. And we've done that already this offseason, the last 6-7 weeks being in the building. Do we have to get better? Yes, we do. Coaches have to. It starts with us. Listen, it starts with me, and it starts with the coordinators, and then it trickles down. So my confidence is high. There's still a lot of collaboration with he and I in game, off season, and again, we've got to make sure that we're putting our players, right? It's all about the players, and we got to make sure that they're in the best position to go execute. If that means scale back, let's scale back. Let's not have a big volume of stuff, and to me, that's where it starts.
Doug, at 2018, you established yourself as maybe the best play caller in the game when you won a Super Bowl. Doesn't matter how good press is at it. Is this organization better off with you doing it in terms of success?
I think those are things that I need to consider. This offseason, this spring. There were things out of my control that I had to deal with more. In the last year. It takes you away from some of that stuff, and I'm not going to get into those, but so yeah, it's something that I have to, as part of the evaluation process, and I have to evaluate myself and impress as decision makers and play callers and see what's best for our team.
So much talk about Trevor's turnovers. How do you coach that? You mentioned after the season it's got to improve.
It has to. I mean, he can't keep, and he knows it, right? He knows it. He can't keep turning the ball over, and we got to protect it, and we will. And we can talk about it. There's a lot of things we can, communicate with him, and you just got to keep going back and showing him the reasons why. This is why you made this decision. This is why the ball came out of your hand. This is why, and show him the whys, and educate him, right? And he'll embrace that, and he'll get better, and look forward to doing that.
Sorry to harp on this, but does that mean you haven't decided whether you are going to call plays or press will call plays in the fall?
I mean, those are, again, I haven't decided, but those are all ongoing conversations that Press and I will have, and go from there.
Does Nielsen give you more confidence that you can sort of turn more of the defense over to him and get more involved in the offense if you choose to as head coach?
It's you're hoping that happens, right? You don't know, so I've never worked with Ryan, so but I think all indications would be that's a possibility to be able to do that. And when you're a head coach and calling plays too, it pulls you away from some of the in-game decisions, where you might see something a little more clearly. Like last year, I was seeing the game differently. I've been able to manage the game differently, and so it does affect you. It affects you in a positive way. When something is removed, but at the same time, you still want your hand on it, right? And you still want to make those decisions.
You referenced that left side of the line multiple times. Do you expect Cam to be back this year?
I hope so. As an organization, I mean, he's under contract, and I just think that, Cam brings an edge. Cam brings some physicality, to the offensive line. he's like Trevor. I mean, he understands that, hey, his role is to help this team win, and can't put the team, can't put the players, can't put us in situations that he did last year. Now the injury is out of anybody's control, but talking about the suspension, right? And it's about being a pro. And listen, these are conversations that Cam, we know we've had, and I definitely like having him on the team. He's fun to be around. Brings a lot of energy out there, and he makes us better.
How do you find edge and physicality? It seems like a mantra coming out of the season is you need more of it.
It's hard, I think, in today's game because you don't put the pads on in the spring, right? You only have certain things you do in training camp and all that, but it's a mindset, and you got to just keep talking about it every single day. You got to put your players in those positions every single day in camp, and you just got to drill it. And I think that's the only way to really, focus on creating an edge and creating that physicality that you want.
What is
we got time for like 2 more guys.
What does Fortner have to improve on going into year 3, in your opinion?
Here's the thing, with Luke, and he's started for the last 2 years for us, a lot of games, and if not all of them. And there's strengths and weaknesses that every player has to work on, and I'm not going to get into what we have to work on with him specifically, because I think that's just a one-on-one conversation with player and coach. But he knows where he needs to get to. We know where we want him to get to, and it's our job to help him get there. And so that's in our power to do that, and that's what we're going to do and focus on this spring and make sure that he takes a step in that direction.
Hey Doug, Trent talked about the team's identity, I guess a lack thereof down the stretch. What do you sort of make of that? How do you get back to the identity? What is that identity?
Well, as far as what it is, I think it's too early to tell because we haven't gone through the draft and free agency, and we don't know who's coming back, and so it's still early to really find that out. What Ryan has said, and I agree. I mean, you want to be attack style, you want to be aggressive, we want to be physical, right? We want to be smart, we want to be a well-conditioned football team. Those are all part of our identity, right? And then when it comes to offense and defense, it's how we use our players. Do we want to get back to running the ball like we did in 22 a little bit? Yeah, we need to, right? And that's part of the identity. That's part of being physical up front. That's part of the receivers going in and blocking. That's the quarterback putting us in better plays. It's us calling better plays, and that's all part of the identity. But I think overall, being a attack style, you want to be aggressive, you want to be smart, a well-conditioned football team are all signs that you've got a identity that you want.
And last thing, Trent also talked about the onboarding process, and there was, he didn't get into specifics necessarily, but there was an issue with the onboarding of players. Maybe you guys need to do a better job. What do you make of that? What is that sort of scenario situation?
Yeah, I think the onboarding for us is how we handle our young players, particularly our draft picks and our undrafted guys, new to the roster. How well we kind of catch them up to speed and indoctrinate them, in what we're trying to get done. And there's things that we're going to put in place this spring, and just make sure that that they're ready to play football. They may not be ready to help us in September, but they may be ready in like October, November, December, and that's the ultimate goal, and making sure that these guys are prepared to do that.
Action Sports Jax Primetime, Saturday at 10:30 on Fox 30.